This movie marks the last time to date that Hiroshi Kashiwabara serves as writer, and directing this time we have Hajime Kamegaki. Michelle is our leading lady, voiced by Maria Issei. Funnily enough, Michelle is also our ending theme. It's a great day for a big race, and Zenigata's at the Aqueduct racetrack having learned Lupin has his sights on the G1 Manhattan's betting money. He overhears Lupin's car, but when he spots it he notes that only Jiggin's inside. On the track, a certain jockey is sabotaging the rival horses. As a result, the two worst racers cross first. The handlers, New York Mafia members, aren't too pleased when they learn it's a 5,000 to 1 payout and that Lupin took the bet. Not exactly a 5,000 to 1 odds on who the jockey was. Zenigata catches up and a chase across New York ensues thanks to Lupin befriending his horse. Of course, it all ends in Lupin coming out on top. At least that's how Lupin plans it to play out, as the G1 is still a week away. His pre-victory drink plans are spoiled when he discovers his fridge burned out and the ice melted. Despite Jiggin's protests that he's supposed to drink bourbon straight, the pair of them head out to buy more ice. Overhearing something, Jiggin splits off along the way. Lupin presses on, but the shop he buys from isn't in the best neighbourhood. Thankfully, the shopkeeper was given the Quickie Mart training, though the last bag of ice is caught in the crossfire. Just as Lupin moves on, a girl asks him for help. Lupin takes out her pursuers, but doesn't get an answer on why they want her. Meanwhile, Jiggin is approached by the source of the noise he heard, an old war comrade called Riot who wears belts of shotgun shells. They didn't part on the best of terms, as they last worked together in war-torn Africa defending a princess named Jenny. Riot was supposed to get her to a plane, but his jeep's driver was shot and she was killed in the crash, Riot only surviving thanks to being thrown off when it swerved. He wants Jiggin for a job, promising it won't clash with the G1 heist. The girl leads Lupin to the Waldorf Astoria, possessing a black card which allows her to get a reasonably priced penthouse. She wants to hire Lupin to help stop her father, but he shrugs her off as it's more a police job. She's not deterred as she knows who he is, showing him a slip of paper with the G1 plans that fell from his jacket and mentioning she spotted his Walther. Introducing herself as Michelle, she explains that this job involves a large diamond. Riot, meanwhile, briefs Jiggin on a weapon being developed by the Mix Corporation, currently owned by their former colonel, Gazu Kuik. Lupin meets with Fujiko and Goemon in Madison Square Garden the next day. Fujiko's waiting for a diamond dealer called Danon, while Goemon's back to offering his skills for hire, likely by the hour again. As Fujiko talks with Danon, Lupin takes note of a tattoo on his arm. Goemon decides to help Lupin, mentioning Fujiko's targeting the president's recently bought giant diamond, the Goddess Teardrop, which is set to be exhibited soon. Meanwhile, Michelle's in danger as her pursuers have tracked her down. Lupin and Goemon arrive, encountering the men as they try to take her away. Lupin recognises one of them as a man named Fire, who attacks with a ball that explodes when hit by a weapon. It also explodes when not hit by a weapon, much to Lupin's annoyance. Despite making it to the roof, Fire's escape plans are cut short thanks to Goemon. He's not deterred, taking away Michelle with the help of a crane. As for Lupin, Zenigata's back on his trail. Lupin and Goemon lower themselves down using a window washing platform. Zenigata tries to follow, but his impatience and rate of descent just leads to a crash. Lupin heads to a bar for info. He doesn't get too much initially, but after some persuasion he learns Fire is headed for Thailand. Goemon decides to stick around with Lupin, which proves useful as he's done training there before. Upon arriving, he points out a pair of suspicious figures, suspecting they're with Fire. Taking a taxi, they soon get pursued by the pair. As they dodge a rocket launcher, Fujiko gives Goemon a call, reminding he's still on her clock. Goemon splits off while Lupin gets caught. Brought before Cuick, Lupin's interrogated, but he's not known for breaking easily. They slip him a truth pill, but his magic mechanical molar manages to contain it before he swallows it. The men toss him in a cell following their interrogation. He fires the pill at the god and learns about Michelle's location and her father's, that is to say Cuick's, goal for the goddess Teardrop. Not to mention getting his revenge on the fake monk for the rocket launcher. Riot and Cuick discuss Jigen's loyalty, with the former planning to turn him against Lupin knowing they're evenly matched. Zenigata arrives in Thailand just in time to spot Lupin renting a helicopter. While he's shown off some superhuman feats over the years, he's not quite able to grab it. Probably should have used his cuffs. Lupin reaches Cuick's mansion, spotting Jigen with Riot. Michelle's also there arguing with Cuick. Cuick's called away to discuss business with Riot and Jigen. As Lupin sneaks into the mansion, Cuick shows off his latest invention, the Nitro Diamond weapon. Made of compressed nitroglycerin, even a small fragment can produce a high-power explosion, as Lupin discovers. Cuick plans to steal the goddess Teardrop and replace it with an NDW to effectively put the president under his control. Lupin reaches Michelle and realises Danon's one of Cuick's men, thanks to his tattoo's image in a wall of photos. Cuick's alerted to Lupin's presence and sends Jigen and Riot out. While Michelle's convinced they won't target her, Lupin doesn't have that luxury. Encountering Jigen, the two prove evenly matched as Lupin runs with Michelle. Deciding to postpone the fight, Lupin manages to hijack a bike. Returning to the helicopter, Lupin's next location is the Wat Yai Chai Moncon, something Zenigata also catches onto. Fujiko and Danon talk, negotiating a 50-50 deal for the goddess Teardrop. Lupin and Michelle arrive at the temple, beginning a search for any hidden entrances with the aid of a watch device. Jigen's not pleased he's been forced to fight Lupin, so Riot sweetens the deal by offering a duel when they're finished. Lupin discovers an entrance under a statue courtesy of the detector, as well as noticing an airflow behind it. Underground, he and Michelle discover a weapon factory developing landmines. They also discover the NDW goddess Teardrop being developed. Lupin swipes it and decides to cause some chaos. Zenigata, who's made it to the temple by now, spots Lupin and manages to cuff him. Riot arrives, grabbing Michelle and demanding Lupin kick the NDW his way. Lupin does so, only to be forced to face Jigen again. While they duel, Riot tosses some smaller NDWs as he escapes, causing the whole factory to go up. Riot meets Cuick, deciding to betray him now he has the NDW. He shows an image of a captive Michelle and demands the schematics to make more NDWs. Cuick tries to fight him but receives a shotgun to the gut. He is able to blow up Mix's central computer, meaning Riot won't get what he's after at least. Lupin and Jigen emerge from a safe, having managed to get inside before the factory exploded. They reconcile and head to Cuick's mansion. Unfortunately, the only thing they find is the aftermath of the Colonel's fight with Riot. Speaking of which, he meets with the rest of Mix's shareholders to negotiate a deal where they get a majority share in the company while he gets the real goddess Teardrop. Meanwhile, Fujiko and Danon meet, ready to swipe the rest of the diamond exhibit that the goddess Teardrop will be part of. Goemon, who's still with her, receives a message himself and takes his leave. Mix discuss their plans for the NDW, figuring they'll have the president in their pocket once it's in the Oval Office. Fire oversees some transportation of goods, wary of the crates being moved without his authority as he drives off. The couriers moving them are of course Lupin and Jigen, who meet with Goemon to bring everything to its conclusion. Goemon returns to Fujiko and they unleash knockout gas on Madison Square Garden. Fujiko has Goemon vacuum up the gems, but sets off an alarm when she moves on the goddess Teardrop. Danon informs them he's swiped the diamond thanks to their distraction as he flies off. They don't even have the smaller gems as the vacuum was shot up in their escape from the security guards that were still conscious. Lupin was able to sneak aboard the helicopter however, grabbing the goddess Teardrop for himself. Zenigata catches him as he parachutes down, leading him to drop it as they struggle. Lupin escapes thanks to the old ditching the trousers routine. Fujiko and Goemon join Jigen at Mix, the former angered at losing her gems. Fire readies an attack, but she just grabs the ball and throws it back at him. Lupin arrives on the scene, ready to confront Riot and Danon. Upon reaching them, Lupin demands they return Michelle, but learns she has an NDW around her neck. Lupin takes aim, managing to shoot the necklace off without harming her. As Fujiko moves to Michelle, Riot taunts the gang from a blast-proof safe room that he and Danon have already escaped to. Lupin tells them he already did another switch earlier, and they now have the NDW replica. Riot says he'll say hello to Jenny for Jigen, but Jigen retorts that he's not going to the same place as her as the safe room explodes. Lupin reveals to Michelle that her father survived his shooting, directing her to a hospital. After Lupin angers Fujiko thanks to dropping the real goddess teardrop, she decides to act as Michelle's escort, and likely rack up a bill on her black card. They say their goodbyes as the goddess teardrop exhibit opens. Lupin reveals that the one on display is just an elaborate ice sculpture. The real one landed on the Statue of Liberty of all places. As for the G1, it was not a great day for a big race, as rain ended up cancelling it. Not to mention Zenigata's waiting, as he found Lupin's plans in the trousers he discarded. No idea whether Kashiwabara planned this to be his final Lupin movie, but it is kind of funny that there's a bit of a bookend, seeing as both this and his first one had a diamond in the Statue of Liberty. I didn't really find the main plot to be too much, as it felt a bit of a been there, done that with family drama. That said, I did enjoy the back and forth with how the gang was set up. The opening heist was well done, and it led to some amusing slice of life while we wait interactions. It was also nice to have Lupin and Goemon team up, as their back and forth was fun even if it did end up getting cut short. Lupin and Jigen being on opposing sides had some potential, but it didn't feel like it was built upon enough. Not the first time they've been pit against each other, but it felt kind of like Jigen didn't really have any reason to go along with Riot or Kuik. It came together quite well at the end at least, and there wasn't really much that was outright bad, just kind of middle of the road. Overall, feels like a prototype of some of the later series' Downtime episodes, so if you're into those, this could be worth a watch. Next time, we travel to the past courtesy of an old foe who hides in the elusiveness of the fog. Until then.